Internet, my name is Ace and today we're reviewing Isle of Dogs, the newest movie directed by Wes Anderson, starring Bryan Cranston, Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum, Bob Balaban, Edward Norton, and a lot of other people. So let's start talking about it right now. I'm going to start off by saying that Wes Anderson is one of my favorite directors of all time. You can look at any shot from his films and you can tell right away that it's a Wes Anderson film. He loves symmetry and you can see it in almost every shot of his movies. This isn't the first time he's done stop motion animation. His first one was with Fantastic Mr. Fox, another highly enjoyable film that I recommend. But this time I can really see the level of detail has increased because this film takes place in Japan and it's about an outbreak that dogs cause, and the government's response is to just put them all on one island, the Isle of Dogs, and then a boy crash lands into the island and then he's just looking for his pet dog. That's the entire premise of this movie. Since it takes place in Japan, a lot of the scenery, which is handmade by the way, everything in this movie is handmade and handcrafted. The scenery is so detailed and it perfectly captures the Japanese aesthetic. It's so beautifully done that every single scene in this film, almost every shot, is just like a work of art. It's like you're watching a moving diorama, which is, I guess, basically what all stop motion films are. One thing I did notice about this film was that it did remind me of Akira Kurosawa's films, most specifically the films Ran and Yojimbo, in the way that they were shot. Akira Kurosawa is, of course, one of the most influential Japanese directors of all time. And when I learned that Wes Anderson was heavily inspired by Akira Kurosawa while he was directing this film, I wasn't even surprised because there was a clear homage to classic Japanese filmmaking that it even elevated the standard of the film for me. It made the film better. The voice performances of Bryan Cranston and the rest of the cast were spot on. One thing I noticed about Wes Anderson's films is that the characters, they never really overact. They kind of just say the dialogue and it just comes out really naturally, you know, as if they were just having a normal conversation. And that is true in this film as well. But it's just so funny because the delivery of the lines is so deadpan and blunt that it makes it a lot funnier when the jokes do happen. There was a strange choice in this film to not translate the Japanese characters when they're speaking Japanese, because since this film does take place in Japan, the characters who are human speak Japanese, but they never translate that into English. And a lot of people were complaining about this, but I think it works well because, you know, the dogs can't understand the humans can't understand the dogs. And I feel like the choice not to translate the Japanese is just a way to extend that to the audience. And because of that, there is a heavy focus on visual storytelling in this film. A lot of the times where the main character, Atari, is interacting with the dogs, he's speaking Japanese, but the dogs don't understand what he's saying, and by extension, the audience doesn't understand what he's saying. So the only way for us to really understand what he means is through visual storytelling. So a lot of the blocking in this film is perfectly done so that we are able to understand what he means anyway. My biggest complaint really with this film is that sometimes when the plot starts to get serious again, there is a subplot involving a conspiracy with the government. And every time they go away from the dogs and away from Atari and focus on this subplot, and they even have this character who's supposed to be like a transfer student, I felt like whenever we did revert back into the main serious subplot, I wasn't really that entertained with it. I just wanted it to go back to the dogs. So it did ruin the pace of the movie a bit. It made it uneven, and it felt like the movie wasn't consistent in that regard. But if I'm being honest, other than that, that's just like a minor problem I have with the movie. The rest of the film is really entertaining, both for kids and for adults. There's a perfect balance between the two, where both can enjoy it. And I would definitely recommend watching this film with your friends or your family. It's the type of film that doesn't take itself too seriously, and you can just enjoy watching it. If I were to give this movie a grade, it would be an A-. There were a lot of things I loved about this movie and very few things I disliked about it. It's another solid film by Wes Anderson. It's stop motion animated and it's gorgeous to look at. So definitely take the time out of your day to check it out if you can. And that's going to have to do it for this review. Thank you as always for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. If you have any movie you want me to review, just comment down below. If you liked the video, like the video. If you didn't like the video, like it anyway. And as always, remember to stay nerdy.